That was it. That was it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, perfect. I used to do this podcast thing with this guys here, and I always use this headset, and it worked perfectly. But whenever I'm doing an interview now, it's just fucked up. So I think there's some button on this cheap shit. Is the sound okay for you?
Sounds great. Actually, it's kind of loud for me. I'm gonna have to lower it down a little bit.
Okay,
Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
I'll
I'm
move the
good.
mic.
No, you sound
Cheers.
good. Cheers for you, man. Chris, Damien, Dow, Suicide Bomber. Welcome to RockEyez, man.
Thank you, man. I've been trying forever to get you to talk to me, and then all of a sudden, you out of the blue, you're just saying we got to get you on the show. And this time, I didn't even fucking bother you.
Yeah. Cool, cool,
Cool.
cool. Yeah, I was talking to somebody this morning, a friend from Sweden and another band from Sweden, and they're one of my favorite bands. And I keep on asking them when you coming to the United States, and he finally said they have a new booking agent in United States, so he
Uh,
plans on coming this year. So maybe you could get on there.
which band was it?
I can't say.
You can't?
I don't want to
Fuck.
get in trouble by him, you know.
Okay, you tell me afterwards.
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
talk.
tell you after, you know. But yeah, I
Yeah,
spoke to it today. So
we'd love,
how's it
we'd,
going today?
it's going good. It's a pretty hot day here in Oslo. I mean, for Oslo temperatures. You're in New York City, right? Or,
I'm in New Jersey, right next to New York City, about 15 minutes away.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so I don't know what temp. It's not Fahrenheit here, so it won't make sense anyway. But it's a pretty hot day. I have the balcony door open, and it's yeah,
yeah.
it's going good really. Just kicking back, having a few beers, and yeah,
Oh,
talking to you.
cool, cool. So the band's from Norway.
Mhm.
Um, let's before we get started with the new album, let's go back to 1995 with Trash Can Darlings. Uh,
Sure.
tell me a little bit about that album. You basically were influenced by Kiss, Sex Pistols, New York Dolls, bands like that. Um, tell me a little bit about that band.
Trash Can Darlings was. I mean, this was like the aftermath of grunge.
Right,
Uh, and the whole world would still be like alternative for at least 5, 6, or 7 more years, probably
right,
until Motley Crue released their biography or something.
right,
So Trash Can Darlings was really influenced by all the bands you said. We were also influenced by people like Gigi Allen,
right,
Wayne County, and all of the best of these new at the time new LA bands that
right,
never made it. Queenie Blast Pop, Hard Rock Mob, the Glamour Punks. So the idea was to do a Ramones type, like Beach Boys on speed music with nasty lyrics and just like a full exaggerated Hanover Rocks kind of glam image, and there's do the insane amounts of drugs and just like go out there and fucking
right.
do that. We did that for 13 years, and it was pretty cool band, to be honest. I mean, we did like 13 tours of Europe, mostly Germany, but France, Switzerland, Austria, kind of like the countries around there, whole of Scandinavia. Released a few albums and a bunch of singles, and the band was doing pretty good for that time. I mean, at that time people were still doing like post grunge, and the trend that was coming was this kind of this more Scandi rock thing with Lucifer and helicopters and
But yeah,
kind of they would have denim jackets and dirty like baseball caps with some race car logo on or something like this. They all look the same and play rock with a W.
right,
And we wanted to do more melodic, like major chord based
right,
music.
right. But you put out one album, right? Gone Gone and Splatter Pussies.
No, that's an EP. Gore Gore Boys and Splatter Pussies. We put
Right,
out a couple of EPs and a couple of singles. The albums were episode one, The Lipstick Menace,
right,
and Getting Away with Murder. And we also put out a compilation record with like 5 or 6 new songs that was called Real Fucking Makeup.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we were as out as we could have been. I mean,
Right,
we were young kids with tons of foundation, red lipstick, and the media and everybody else at that time, they just saw us as some kind of 80s wannabe band, you know. And at the time we weren't, because we were doing like the new glam thing. But
Right.
as Paul Stanley used to say, people hear with their eyes, you know.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And but you guys were signed to a German label, right?
Mm. We signed to a label called East Side Records,
Right.
small German label, father and son operation, and but they were like real fans. I mean, if you go on eastsiderecords.de,
Uh-huh.
um, they still have a separate section for Trash Can Darlings there, and it's with pictures of all the tours. I think I usually go there when I need to research my old lyrics. So, I was the lead guitar player in that band,
Right. Right.
and they had we had a different singer.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Do you miss them
So,
times?
hmm?
Do you miss them times?
Nah, not really. I mean, it was a little bit different back then, because it was easier to tour. The club scene was,
Right.
I mean, it's like you told me a couple of days ago, the club scene in New York is picking up, and
Yes.
it is here as well. But in the past, like you could be a virtually unknown band and you can play every day in
Wow.
like
Right.
in Germany especially, but in Austria and countries like this, it might not be, too crowded on a Tuesday,
Right.
but there would still be people. And
Yeah.
now there's a lot of these clubs only book like Thursday to Saturdays now, so
Right. Yeah.
so it's a little more difficult. I was thinking when I started Suicide Bombers that I could just jump right back on the train, but it's
Right.
different times, I suppose.
Yeah. The same with here, like Monday through Wednesday, Thursday. Basically, the clubs are like restaurants, and
Yeah,
then weekend, they bring in the bands.
yeah,
So I can understand that. Tell me a
yeah.
little bit about Doll Hazard.
Doll Hazard, that's cool. That was an album. I mean, Sandy Hazard, he's like the other half of that project.
Right.
Has been a good friend of mine since I think probably 2003. We
Right.
met we met online on one of these old boards called glitzine.net. I don't
Right.
think it's up anymore at all. And he was in, the Canadian band Pretty Boy Floyd, who was out
Right. Yeah.
before the LA version. He
Right.
was also in the McCrackens. Now he has a cool band called Dirtbag Republic. And
Uh-huh.
we somehow, he was a big fan of Trash Can Darlings. I liked his band. And we somehow just ended up mailing back and forth. And then Facebook got there and we started chatting,
Right.
and had a real connection. And we would always like bitch and complain about our bands, or brag about stuff and help each other, just like you should send something to this guy, he's cool. And we
Right.
still
Yeah.
do that.
Wow.
And a lot of times, probably drunk talking, we were like, man, if we would live closer, because he's
Yeah.
in Vancouver, Canada, I'm in Oslo, right?
Right.
If we would live closer, we would probably do a band. And then I think it was him, because I'm really useless with technology, but he
Right.
said, Chris, it is possible now. We can actually do an album.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
was I was like, okay, yeah, we can do it remotely, man. I got this nice setup. I can record drums, send you the drums. I play all the drums, you play all the strings, like all the guitars and the bass and everything. We
Right.
write we write half the songs each. We sang the ones we wrote mostly, and then we pitched in ideas on each other's songs. So I think he wrote about half the record, I wrote the other half, and it was really cool. It was the easiest album I ever made, I think, because we were just kicking ideas back and forth, and
Right.
because of the time difference, we were never working on at the same time, you know. So
Yeah.
so I wake up in the morning and I'm just like, okay, log in to see what Sandy has sent, and it was just a fuck lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it started off with him just sending me songs, because he's a really prolific writer.
Right.
He'll write a lot of stuff really quickly, whereas I want all my ideas to be reach their full potential. So
Right.
I'm really slow. But I was just like, fuck, he sent me 3 songs already. I sent him nothing. So I just wrote 2 really quickly and sent them to him and said, you write the lyrics and vocal melody. And that was Cat's Got Your Tongue, which
Uh-huh.
which he which he did the vocal melody and lyrics for. And then it was one called 21 Grams Off My Shoulders,
Right.
which he said you should do the lyrics for this one.
Yeah. Wow.
So I those two songs seem to be a lot of people's favorites as well. So it was really cool. We did it really quickly. We released it on CD and it's on all digital platforms. And we've been contacted by a few labels about doing a vinyl version of it.
Right.
And we really want to do that, but so far the deals haven't been,
Right.
made sense at all.
Right. Right. Now, what's your feeling about vinyl? It looks like you got a lot of vinyl behind you.
Yeah, fuck love.
Yeah, I think
And
that's a collection.
I got my CDs over here,
Wow.
and yeah, no, I really love physical. I like CDs and I like vinyl, and I do Spotify as well. It's
Right.
like I'm on the move a lot. So whenever I'm out, I'll usually listen to Spotify. But I have no setup to listen to Spotify at home, and I don't want to do that. So it's
Right.
always I always find like my playlist for my parties at home is that I'll take a lot of records out and just like, okay, we'll listen
Right.
to this.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
and I enjoy that. I find when I'm out walking, I'll DJ a lot. I'll play
Right.
like one song here, a couple of songs there, but at home I like to just listen to a whole record.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Wow. When you do the new album, All for Candy, All for the Candy, was most of the stuff done a band unit, or you did some WAV files on that too?
That was the first record, Criminal Record in 2012. That was all done in a studio. Like we
Right.
recorded everything in the same studio. I think the guitar player at the time, a guy called Lazy Leather, I think he did his solos at home, and that was the only thing that was not done in the same studio we mixed it in.
Right.
But it was a little bit of a hassle because we had to drive far to get there. So
Right.
if you had a weekend, you couldn't really use Friday because it was too far to drive, and then you'd have to book a hotel, and we didn't want to do that and stuff. So we started doing more and more stuff like remotely.
Right.
Our bass player has his studio, so we record the drums in his studio, and he of course does the bass there.
Right.
And from about Suicide Idols, that's like 3 records ago, I started doing all my vocals and all
Right.
my guitars at home.
Right.
And for this record, Stevie T's our lead guitar player also did all his guitars at home. The thing that we didn't knew this time was that we were kind of fed up with doing backing vocals remotely.
Right.
Be- because the thing is that you never focus on backing vocals at rehearsals. It's just scream the title 4 times and then it's off. And then me or C Slim, our bass player, is also a songwriter. We'll have like specific ideas of what we want to do, so it's much easier. We did them the same way. Like we're not all of us around a microphone screaming, but so we recorded one and one voice to make it easier mixing. But we could produce each other right away. It was just
Right.
like, okay, do that again, little bit, hold the end a little bit longer, and then just stuff like that.
Right. Right. Was you have any particular favorite song you sing on this new album?
To sing or to listen to?
To sing.
Oh fuck. I mean, no, I don't think I like. I mean, the new album has a few songs that are really, really high pitched, or I mean, not in an operatic way, but for my voice, it's higher than I ever done before. It's songs like "Dynamite Playboys," "All for the Candy," the title track, and "Take It Off" in particular.
Right.
Plus, "Zombie Don't Do Live," and these are among my favorite songs to listen to, and they are. My favorite songs to sing live when I feel that I've really nailed them.
Right.
But on the kind of rougher nights, they're a bit of a struggle.
Right.
So we do all of these first. We start off with Dynamite Playboys, go directly into Take It Off. Then we do an older song called Ready for Tonight, and then it's All for the Candy. So it's like a four punch,
Right.
four Mike Tysons to the fucking throat, man. But so these can be favorites or not. My favorite of the new ones to sing live is usually "Tonight Belongs to Us" because
Right.
I always nail that.
Right. Yeah. Cool. 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 Will this album come out on vinyl, or is it out on vinyl?
It's out on vinyl.
Cool.
All our records, we have 5 records out now, and all of them are out both on CD and vinyl.
Cool. Now, how's the club scene in Norway?
It's okay, I suppose. It's gotten a little bit better. There's clubs to play
Right,
almost in every town and every city, and of course in the bigger cities like Oslo and Bergen and
right,
Trondheim, there are several clubs to play. Um, and it also seems that there are more new bands like rock bands getting bigger here now.
right,
Like more people can play like the bigger clubs,
right,
and that hasn't happened. I mean, it happens for metal and other genres, but not really for rock. But we're a different type of rock, though, since we do this kind of hard rock,
right.
heavy on the image and sex kind of thing. So it's a little hit and miss where we're popular and where we are not in
Right.
Norway, but it's not hard to get gigs.
Cool, cool, cool. Um, Tell me a little bit about the touring because I see you're touring all over the place.
Yeah, so far we've been doing Norway.
Right,
So that's really it. We were going on a short tour of Europe with two other Norwegian bands, like on the Nightliner
right,
uh, in September, but that got canned because yeah, we're not doing that. They wanted us to do it, but uh, the infrastructure or everything changed, and it was just really difficult to kind of get it to work.
right,
Um, so we're not doing that, but it seems like we're probably being gonna do a short tour of England
right,
next year. It isn't booked yet, so it's a little bit too early, but there might be a festival and like five or six other concerts.
right.
We also been shown interest from another festival there, and I know there's people working to get us on like the Monsters of Rock cruise and stuff like this. So I have no clue if any of this will happen. It's just that there's more things in motion, and it just feels like stuff is slowly kind of like snowballing a little bit more with this album. I mean, it was released on the 10th of February, and
Right.
here you are and want to do an interview with me. You know, there's this stuff happening all the time.
Wow.
So so yeah, that's really cool.
Cool. Do you read reviews?
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing
Yeah, it's actually I miss that Italian guy that hates everything I do. I remember he used to write how terrible all our records were, and
uh-huh.
then when I did the Doll Hazard thing, we had released Suicide Bombers had released probably three records when Doll Hazard came along. So
Right.
he reviewed that as well, and he was praising everything Sandy did, and then
Wow.
but most of the review was just talking shit about me as a person and my, you know, the Sleazefear moniker and my childish lyrics. And I don't know, he's not living my life, but I kind of miss him because I remember when you post like too many positive reviews, people will just like it on social
Right. Yeah.
media.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you have that one guy who says that this is all shit, this really sucks, none of this is good, and you post it, you get some action.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I believe it.
Probably gonna start, you know, fathers against suicide bombers or something.
Yeah.
Myself.
Wow. What was the last show that you attended?
Ah, at the moment, I can't remember. I think it was probably Backstreet Girls. I don't know. I'm tomorrow at least. I'm going to a show. There is this friend of mine called Eddie Gus. He's the singer of a band called Carburetors,
Cool.
and he turns 50. So he's doing like a show at one of the biggest clubs in Oslo with all three of his bands. That's his metal band is called Cult of Destiny, and then he has a band like a hard rock kind of thing with where Shagrat, you know, the
Yeah.
singer
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Dimmu Borgir, he plays guitar in that band. It's called Chrome Division,
Oh
and
yeah, I
then
know that. I know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they are playing, and then the headliner is going to be Carburetor. So I'm going there tomorrow. I see the Backstreet Girls a lot. I can't really remember. I'm kind of yeah.
Well, I don't have to ask you what do you collect. I could see it behind you.
Yeah, I collect records mostly. I mean, I like records, I like books, I like clothes, and I have probably 16 guitars or something. So I collect that as well.
Cool.
And
Well, yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Did you ever do a book on your photos or?
Not yet. I've been asked a couple times. I started doing it, but it takes so long.
Yeah.
I mean, like I know other, publishers and stuff like that, and their book took like 2 years.
Oh,
It's not like something you just do. It has to
yeah.
be laid out, and you got to pick the pictures you want, and it,
Yeah.
it's a long process.
Yeah, and you have like when you started out in the early 80s or mid
Yes.
80s or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have like decades of pictures to do. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go if you have time. I'm gonna give the people an exclusive now. Suicide Bombers actually have a book coming out next year.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's I haven't never talked about this before. We haven't started the work, but we will.
Right.
And it's not gonna be like a brick biography or anything. It's gonna be something in between a tour program and a photo book. But it's gonna have a lot of writing as well, and it's gonna be probably 100 or 150 pages.
Cool.
Mostly photos with text, and it's going to be about the time we're in now, kind of like from the start of the work with All for the Candy, and then follow the tour and stuff. We've been lucky enough to have like tons of cool photographer friends
Uh-huh.
who are some who mostly just come to Oslo and do pictures of us, but and they're like like you, great people to shoot for like bigger things, but since they're our
Right.
friends, they do it anyway.
Right.
And one of them is called Frank, and he started traveling around to shoot us as many shows as possible. And sometime, I think it was last year or was it early this year, he
Uh-huh.
these type of books where you just like have your own book from your wedding kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just upload pictures to a
Yeah.
website and they send you a
Oh, yeah.
book.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he made like a 27-page book for us or something like this, and he was
Right.
and sent it, and we thought we could maybe sell it, but if we did, it would be like more than $100 for just
Yeah.
27 pages.
Right.
Uh, so he wanted to do another one. I was like, we should really look into this, and rather than 27 pages that we can have by ourselves, maybe we
Right.
can do 150 pages and uh, sell it at an affordable price for people.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so that's going to be really exciting. I haven't started writing for it yet. It'll mostly be me who does the writing, but we'll do like an old tour program, where you have 2 pages for each member of the band. There's the
Right.
discography at the back. There's lots of pictures. I hope to look back at my notes so I can kind of like put the dates where we first performed the songs from the new record,
Uh-huh.
because we played them all before the album was released.
Right.
Because of COVID and stuff, we haven't released the record since 2019. So
Right.
it got a little boring to play the Murder Couture set. So we were just like, okay, let's have just 2 spaces in the set list where we play 2 new songs,
Right.
and we just alternate them. So we actually managed to play nearly the whole album live before it was even released.
Cool. Cool. That's a
Yeah,
treat for the fans, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know if you're yeah, especially if you if you come back and play places again, you don't want to do the exact same set.
Right. Definitely. Definitely. What was the last album you listened to?
That was um that was a record called New Rock Underground by the Space Age Playboys. That's
Oh.
Corey Clark from Warrior Soul.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I really like, Warrior Soul had a record called Space Age Playboys, and that's probably one of my top 10 albums of all time. And then the band broke up, I think, and he started a band called Space Age Playboys, who did that New Rock Underground record. And it's not as good as the Warrior Soul record, but it's pretty amazing. And I like to think of it, it's a party record for people who pay for their nosebleeds. so so I can relate.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent record.
Um, like your venues there, how many patrons or people does like the club scene hold over there?
I have no clue. I mean, you have to keep in mind that Norway is, I think, total like 5 million people or something.
Right.
So you could probably like put that in one skyscraper in on Manhattan, and that's the whole population of Norway. So it's not like they're the smaller clubs here will probably do like 150 people.
That's pretty
Some
good.
yeah, I'm saying that that's a capacity, and
Yeah, yeah.
then the bigger clubs like the one that Eddie's doing tomorrow is I think 1,300,
Wow,
and
that's really good.
then you have 2,000, and from 2,000 and up, it's more arenas here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and like 4,000, 8,000, stuff like this. But this is too big here to be a club.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I photographed the show last week with Trickster headlining and Pretty Boy Floyd and Enough's Enough. And
Cool.
that club hold 290.
Yeah,
And
very cool.
you couldn't get
I,
in. We
I
sold
know
out.
I know several of those guys. I partied with Chip several times in the past,
Right.
playing demos back and forth, and I met Pretty Boy Floyd were in Norway. I think it was in September last year.
Right.
Talked to Steve a little bit. It's always nice, and the support band I knew from the internet called the Midnight Devils. They're also
Oh yeah.
American.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I took them out for pizzas and stuff, and we had a great time.
Cool. 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 Is there anything in your younger years as you were growing up that really changed your life?
Lots of stuff. I think the first time I heard music that was, the first time I heard it was probably Kiss. Like I liked several bands before. I mean, I got into Europe and Bon Jovi a little bit before that, but the first time I heard Kiss, it was like I was home,
Right.
and then but I was always mostly, this was like the mid to late 80s, and I was always more interested in their 70s period.
Right.
So when I heard Wasp, I was only just like 2 years too late or something, and
Right.
I felt that that was really talking to me. And then another significant thing happened is that we had something over here called, I think it was Sky Channel or something like this, and they would show some metal videos every once in a while, and I saw Rat's "You're in Love" video.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is, I heard other musicians talk about this as well. I mean, now I really love Rat, and they're amazing musicians and they're
Right.
great songs, But at that time, I haven't really heard of them, and it was like the stuff that I had discovered earlier, like Kiss and Wasp and stuff like this, was like these untouchable gods, like
Right. Yeah.
wow, Blackie, this kind of stuff. But I didn't know shit about, Warren DeMartini or Stephen Percy
Right.
or
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
great people. So I was just sitting here, being a snotty kid, and I was just like, fuck, I'm gonna be a singer or a guitar player in a band like that. If
Right.
these
Yeah. Yeah.
guys can do it, then I can, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Why not?
So that was really significant. It still took years till I discovered them, because I never saw their video again on television. But it was, yeah.
Wow.
Now I'm a huge fan. I think Rat is one of the most solid back catalogs ever. There might be other bands from that era who have one or two records that I like
Right.
equally or even more, but they're not as consistent. Whereas with Rat and even Stephen Percy's solo records, it's just like, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Right. Right. Tell me the new video. Do you enjoy doing the videos?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. The videos are a real hassle, to be honest. It's a
Yeah.
lot of organizing, it's a lot of building sets and doing shit, and it's finding the girls this time, and
Right.
whatever, really. It can be really difficult, but I did end up together with the shorter one from the video, so I'm happy,
Yeah. Cool. 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 What's the feeling like when people want your autograph?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, we always make an effort to go and stand at the merch table at the end, so whoever bought a record or something can get it signed, or we'll sign whatever they have. Most people want to do a photo or something as well, and I think, we don't have to pretend that we're the Rolling Stones and can't do this. It's you can do the people who are there if they want one. And I enjoy that myself as well. Like when I saw Pretty Boy Floyd in September, Steve was selling his own merch. There's no reason for him to pretend that he's a bigger star, that he
Right.
can't do that, and there's no reason for me either. I think it's silly with bands who play like clubs when they're not really out there
Right.
talking to their fans.
Now, when you do play clubs, does the club take care of you, like feed you and everything else, or what's up?
Mostly it's dinner, hotels, beers, whiskey,
Uh,
etc. And
yeah.
then yeah, sound guy and money, of course.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you went out on tour as a support band right now, who would you go out with?
Ah, I would.
Rat?
Hmm? Now the thing is that yeah, I would, but I would probably, if I was gonna pick an older band, I would probably rather go out with, Kiss isn't anymore, but
Right,
like Motley Crue, or just to play to as many people as you possibly can.
right,
But I think what I'd really like to do was to go out with a younger band, with people who are more our age and as big as possible. And I can't really think of a band like that now, because that's one thing that you saw in the 80s. Like you never remember who is the support band for Kiss these days.
right, yeah.
Because the 50, 60-year-olds who are going to see Kiss, they're taking their kids along, and they're showing up late. They're
Right,
not seeing the support band.
right, yeah.
Whereas whereas in the 80s, like when Skid Row was supporting Bon Jovi, these bands were so close in age and hit the same audience. They really hit the same audience and age group, and Skid Row blew up for it.
Right, yeah. Wow, wow. With this new album, what are your hopes?
With the new album,
Yeah.
realistically, I want to end up on as many album of the year lists as possible.
Uh-huh.
Top it, and that's really difficult when you release an album in February. If you do it in October and November, it's still fresh, and you will end up on those lists. But because of all the reviews, I'm hopeful, and I
Uh,
want to get a lot more interviews, and we also want to play. We want to play abroad. We want to.
right.
It's nice to do Norway, but we really like to do more festivals both in Norway and abroad, and we would like to tour Europe, the UK, and we really want to come to America, but it's too much lawyers stuff,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
really it's really like bizarro world and difficult to get in there. It's like, but I can't do shit like that myself. It's too much paperwork, too many letters, and I don't like it.
Right, yeah. Wow, wow. What's the weirdest thing a fan ever did for you? I can't say that.
uh, oh fuck!
Can't
I
say
can't.
that, boy.
No, I don't know. There's been several instances where guys want me to do stuff with their girlfriends,
Wow.
and stuff like this, and it's sometimes the girls are pretty as well.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. Usually, you just get a handful of drugs, don't you? I don't know. It's not. It's it's not really weird. It's just the way it is.
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah. This new album, was everything done in-house? Like you produced it, everything yourself, and a label or anything like that?
We don't do labels
Oh,
because not because we don't want to, but because we haven't really needed the deals we have been offered. But we had Trond Holter. His stage name is Teeny, and he's the guitar player in a band called Wigwam.
uh-huh.
They had like the title track for the Peacemaker series
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and the dance and stuff like that. So he's a really great dude. He mixed it, and my good friend Maria Maxwell and her associate Rachel Maxwell did the mastering, and it was all the same with the rest. We had a friend called Tina Palmer do the cover. One of our Dal Nachtneber, the same photographer, who shot all our covers. So it was basically all done in house. The only thing that was reaching a little bit out was getting the guy from Big Bam to to mix it.
Right. Oh, wow,
So,
wow.
but we pay for everything ourselves, and then yeah, that's the way it's always been.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, it was good talking to you, Chris.
Yeah,
And
same.
let me tell you, it was the band that I talked to today that wants to come to America and said they got a new people over here. It was
Yeah.
Crash Diet.
Ah, cool. We're playing a festival with them next year.
Right. So I talked to Martin Sweet today, and
Ex
he said he got a new US agent.
Yeah,
And he said, I mean, I saw them twice when they came earlier, like years ago. And
they
so,
were Crash Diet was the first of the new wave of bands to kind of break through. And I remember they were signed to Universal
right,
uh, for one or two records, and that was a big deal. And I never met them, but I really liked the band.
right, yeah. Cool, cool. It's great talking to you. Would you like to say anything to the fans out there?
Yeah, I want you to check out our records, and I also want you to go and follow us on social media. We're Suicide Bombers Music on YouTube and I think Facebook, and then we're Suicide Bombers Official with some underscores and stuff on Instagram. And find us on your favorite streaming service and just hit follow. You know, it won't cost you shit, but just hit follow, because apparently that's important. I don't understand shit like that, but people tell me to say it. So now I have. And thank you for everyone for listening and for doing whatever you do, spreading the word, and stuff is it has taken longer than I thought, but stuff is happening.
Well, tell me a little bit about the merch. You got to get the merch in. What do you have?
Oh, we have t-shirts, two different t-shirts, two different hoodies. We have two different pins, so you can make your own Sleesphere hat.
Right. Cool.
We have, of course, all the CDs and records, and we are, yeah, I think that was it, really. We are probably. I looked at some new stuff, but since it isn't in production yet, I won't say.
Right, yeah, but you need to get some autographed photos and stuff like that of the band, because like people who in the United States never get to see you, at least they have something. Plus, to
Yeah,
see.
I want to do that, and I think photos are easier to send. I thought about posters, but having those huge rolls is gonna
Yeah,
like
that'll
cost
cost you a lot. The
fortune.
forget it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. Okay,
So
Chris, good talking to you, man.
over and motherfucking out.
Yeah, talk to you later, man.
Talk
Bye-bye.
to you. Bye.